And Snigdha, for those who don't know you, can you please introduce yourself?
Absolutely. So, hi guys, I'm Snigdha. I'm a personal brand strategist, a ghostwriter, and a one-to-one coach on LinkedIn. I'm also a creator across Instagram, and I built my brand across these platforms while working a 9 to 5 job. So, I have a lot of clients that I work with now that I've stepped into self-employment, and the work that I do stems from a lot of strategy and a lot of lived experience. So, that's me.
And before we discuss your content creation experience on LinkedIn, what's actually your story or your background, if you can tell us more about yourself?
Absolutely. So I've been working in marketing for just about 6 years now. I started working while I was in uni because I understood very early on that having some work experience as you graduate is the only leverage that you can have to find a job quicker than other people and to potentially even find a job at all. So I started
I can
working.
confirm.
Yeah, it's a tough world out there. So I started working very early on, and in doing that, I was able to graduate uni alongside a full-time marketing job that I was offered as soon as I graduated, and then I moved to the UK. So I actually grew up in London and then moved back to India for a while with my family, and then moved back here on my own 2 years ago. So I landed here, got a job in like 2 weeks, and then started working that full-time job. Did it for a year, and then realized I had started to outgrow the role. But at the same time, I wasn't looking to make another move within the 9 to 5 ladder at the time because I thought that this is the time that I have to take a bet on myself and experiment with some of the skills I've developed in these last 6 years. So I've been working as a ghostwriter before it even had a formal name as like a ghost. Like I feel like it sounds really cool now, like saying, "Oh,
Yeah,
I'm a
yeah.
ghostwriter." But there was a time when it wasn't really termed as that, and it was just something that you did for founders and people that you worked with. So I've been a content writer, a ghostwriter, and just a marketing strategist for years. And I was like, I think I have a lot of disposable skills here that I can utilize within building a personal brand for myself. And then eventually, once I figure out how these platforms work and what frameworks there are that I can apply to me, I can apply those same ones to help other people grow. And in that, I can create a self-employed system for myself wherein I'm working with a handful of clients. And I just figured that that was something that I felt more inclined to do than move into another 9 to 5 role straight away.
Yeah.
But then I also didn't want to take a huge leap, like I'm going to quit my job and then figure it out. So I thought, why not let me start building on LinkedIn while I still have this 9 to 5? So I spent 6 months of 2025, which was from July to December, building my own personal brand. Within that time, I got to ranking top 2% globally. My brand started attracting inbound clients and opportunities. And then I took a really confident and calculated move in Jan by quitting my job in Jan because of the opportunities that my personal brand had brought to me in those 6 months. So that's a bit about me. And aside from that, I also do some content creation on Instagram, which is not, I'm not doing it as avidly right now because my client work takes up most of my time, but I am kind of present across platforms.
Mhm.
So yes, that's me.
I think like your strategy or what you said that you did your full-time job and started building your brand alongside of it and then had like some kind of security to go fully to focus on LinkedIn. It's such a smart approach. And like, because sometimes I feel like it's, I don't want to say flexing, but like a bold move to suddenly quit everything, quit your 9 to 5 and go fully on LinkedIn. But the reality is that it's not going to be like, okay, I quit, I go to LinkedIn and suddenly I'm going to get millions of clients. Yes, it can maybe happen to someone, but let's be honest, it's not really the reality. So I feel like your example is just such a smart approach and something that I would definitely recommend to people as well, because you need to be realistic, right?
Thank you so much. I completely agree with that. And I think that I had the same thought process at the time. It was the fact that I didn't think it was rational to not have some kind of experience on the platform and just quit something impulsively and then build from scratch. And B, it was the fact that I live alone in London and I don't have my family here. So I also needed to look out for myself financially and just have that backing in which I could confidently take the next move because platforms change all the time and requirements change. But once you're moving from a place of confidence that your own personal brand is kind of brought to you and you have a complete understanding of things, then you can move forward, like knowing that, like, okay, I can actually see this through rather than kind of take a
Yeah,
leap which you're not sure how it's going to land. So, yeah.
I agree. And another great point that I wanted to mention is when we discussed university, that you said that you already had a work while studying full time, which is impressive because it's not easy to study and it's quite demanding, especially by the end of your studies. But also what you said, that it's important to start looking for work or having experience before you graduate, because I remember from my experience as well that sometimes there's like a overly optimistic mindset that once you graduate suddenly again you're going to get millions of opportunities, but oh my god, it's definitely not like that. It's very challenging, it's really hard. And what you said, like for people, like for any listeners who are students or at university or something, really don't underestimate it. Do it like Snigdha said, because it's really tough once you graduate, and it's great if you have some kind of plan before you graduate, because the world is not waiting for you when it happens.
Precisely, precisely. And I would also go as far as to say that, like, what you try to work at in university doesn't necessarily need to relate to your field. Like, for example, I was a major in finance, but I started working in marketing because I just had an interest and like a passion for marketing. So I wasn't studying marketing, but I wanted to work in it because I thought that that would also give me a perspective into two different fields. And the way that that benefited me was one of the part-time jobs that I landed was like as a finance writer. So it combined two of my skill sets. So never underestimate the importance of like just working across fields when you're younger, because you don't even know what you're passionate about yet, and you're not going to know unless you explore. So don't even limit yourself to one field, because that can really help in your job search as well.
I agree. And I think what's also important is just to pursue what you enjoy, because I heard it like even if with stories of other people that they studied something, but for some reason you discover that you don't enjoy it, so it's completely okay to switch, because what's the worst than spending years then doing something that you actually don't like, right?
Completely agreed. That's the recipe for burnout.
Hmm. And actually, when did you get the idea to start building your personal brand in the first place?
So I think as a concept, personal branding has been like a huge buzzword in this last year, year and a half across like LinkedIn. But what people have been doing for a long time through content creation on other platforms such as Instagram, like I've had a brand on Instagram that's been at 30,000 followers for a while now. And that may not have necessarily been termed as a personal brand a couple of years ago, but it was still me developing a niche presence for myself that attracted opportunities on that platform. But as a concept, I was just like, okay, I'm going to explore personal branding. It would potentially have been last year around that time in July when I was starting to feel burnt out at my 9 to 5, but didn't want to move into another 9 to 5. And everyone was talking so much about, oh, like personal branding this and personal branding that. And I was like, okay, let's see what this hype is about. And that's when I started to kind of go deeper into LinkedIn as a platform, because that was not something I had ever built on before. Because I think that this is so commonly spoken of, but everyone has this fearful perception of LinkedIn as being this job hunting, professional, rigid platform. And God, was it a culture shock to me as well when I started building on here and I saw so many people openly and confidently just speaking as themselves and sharing learnings from their day to day. And I was like, oh, this is not at all the way that I thought that it was. And in doing that, I realized that I have a lot to learn on this platform. So me building my personal brand in a way was me proving to myself that I can A, learn how this platform works, B, build my own brand, and then C, kind of use that as testament to show other people that this is what I did for myself in 6 months. I can apply the same principles and help you grow as well, which is exactly what my clients saw and exactly what I help them do now.